Well, hey howdy everyone, Losity here, back in action for more Attraction. That's right, we're playing the Great Ace Attorney 2, the Resolve, and we're about to see this apparently great detective that this prosecutor has in store for us in order to prosecute our great friend, who we had to cross-dress. It was the only way that, in order to make sure that she stays free. So, hopefully everything works out for us. Hi, Takasuki Ochi. I've been waiting for this moment. Sorry? Ah, yes, I haven't forgotten. A trial 9 months ago, here in this very courtroom, when that irrelevant little student boy utterly humiliated me. Oh yeah, he has no longer hair now. Ah! Renosuke! Naruhodo! Well, yes. This insult to the Ochi family name will never be forgotten. You become conceited with age, Counsel. But old have the sand aside and make way for the new. It's the way of the world. May you never forget that. Love that. Strike the head of the samurai whose top knot has been cut, and the bell of cultural enlightenment tolls. Yes, on the fateful day my former self died. The start of your own mini-Minji revolution. Are you motorizing as well, Consul? Silence! Since I swore revenge back then, there has been a minor miracle atop my head. Observe the Aochi growth. You see the seed of hope sprouting forth from the barren expanse of my crown? I think that tiny growth is trying to tell me something. I'm afraid I can't really see it. Where is that hope exactly? I said silence! Today, I face another yokel student of the Naruhodo clan. Well, I will vanquish you. And my victory will be a fertilizer for the seed of hope atop my head. You have been warned. With that, the prosecution calls the witness to the stand. Looks like the stakes are high on both sides of this trial. Prosecution and defense each has a much to lose. A haircut is hardly comparable to Ray's life. What? He's back. Witness, please state your name and occupations for the court. Chief Inspector Soroto Hosonaga, Imperial Police Bureau. I'm in disguise, obviously. I could go undetected. And I am, well, the next big thing in books. An author renowned throughout the capital, in fact. Yes. Soon to be sold out, the satirical I Am a Cat, the sensational success by Sosuke Natsume. Oh my goodness. Struggling student from the provinces, please, you needn't be in awe of me. I needn't? It's only natural that you feel nervous in my presence, but all of you please relax. Call me Sasuke, even. Yes. What on earth is Sasuke-san doing here? Friend carefully, Susato. That author fellow knows you from your time in London, doesn't he? He exposes you for who you really are. It'll be over before it's even begun. Yes. Yes, of course. I know. presume Suzuki-san wouldn't have forgotten about me. I'd certainly never forget him. Although he does seem to have changed somewhat in the 6 months or so that it's been since I last saw him. And as for the Inspector Osanaga, that amazing outfit is hard to believe. Do I have something on my face? Well, your glasses for one, they don't seem to be helping you see. Goodness, he doesn't recognize me either. Ah, I suppose it's this disguise, is it? I thought that appearing here in the clothes I was wearing at the time would make for a more faithful testimony. It is my guiding principle to carry out all testimonies flawlessly. Well, I can appreciate why Imperial Police Bureau detective might have been present. But what business did a writer, such as yourself, have being at the scene, Suzuki-san? Ah, well, you see, I had been asked the day to give a lecture. On the morning of the incident, in the Imperial Ume University's Grand Lecture Hall, no less. At Ume University? After the lecture, I had a very pleasant conversation with a researcher for the medical science department. The professor over there, in fact. With Professor Mikotoba? Yes, that's right. I was arranged by one of the newspapers. Wanted some story or other about 2 former students who studied in Great Britain. Of course, being a renowned author, the press never leave me alone. They secretly spy, snapshots, scribble stories, and scoop it by privacy. As you could see, the conversation was written up in this newspaper here. Read it at your leisure. My professional, struggling student friend. I have plenty of copies. Thank you very much. They threw that paper at me. Okay. Suseki, Susaki Natsumi article. Anyway, holding my interview with the professor, the lady in question appeared and made a very unexpected announcement. I should like to go with everyone to see your country's coast. Those were her words. As I explained before, Miss Brett has never taken into custody. She continued to work in my laboratory, under strict surveillance. At which utterance, the university immediately contacted the government to seek guidance. And the response was, permit Miss Brett to go as long as the detective accompanies her. A detective, I am at liberty to divulge, was me, Chief Inspector Satoru Osanaga. Thereby, the entire party departed, fortunately for the seaside, it seems. It was extremely challenging to clear all other members of the public from the vicinity of the beach. But fortunately, I am at peak physical fitness at the moment, so I was able to carry out my duty flawlessly. Bro, that timing though! Oh my, Inspector, you... Well, you do have something on your face now. Oh, well, how unsightly. I do apologize. Does that mean that you went to the beach too, Father? No. Fortunately, I had work to finish off. But unfortunately, of course, it meant that, as my assistant, Ray was invited to take my place. Of course, being a renowned author, I didn't like to decline the invitation. But only if I had! I never would have seen that awful sight! Relentlessly racked by remorse and regret! Very well. I must now ask you to present your formal testimony to the court. You will give an account of all that you witnessed on your impromptu excursion to the coast. Of course, Your Excellency. Relentlessly racked by remorse and regret, I am. Oh, he came down off his high. Witness testimony. The witness seen. On the day of the incident, I was ordered by a special surveillance assignment in this disguise. I just adjusted to catch that crab when I suddenly heard a caterwaul from behind me. I ran into the beach hut at once, where I found the pair in question. Yes! The young girl was astride the English woman, a dagger in hand. She stabbed wildly. I saw blood on the blade. It proved to me that she stabbed the victim multiple times. Indeed, it does appear from this testimony that both witness here present saw it the very moment of this heinous crime. What? Now, if you will recall, I promise evidence as well. What phrase did I use again? Ah, yes, that was damning evidence. What have you here, Consul? A so-called fountain pen, is it? Correct, Your Excellency. I found it at the scene whilst examining the body. It appears that in her dying moments with her final ounce of strength, the victim clutched a piece of evidence that would positively identify her killer. What? Your Excellency, if you would cast your eyes over the photographic print of the crime scene once more. Ah, goodness me. Yes, the victim is clearly grasping something quite deliberately there in her hand. That's right, the fountain pen. You would kindly examine the pen, Your Excellency. Ah! The owner's initials have been engraved in the ebonite barrel. R.M. Ray Mimambi. The initials of the defendant. No! This fountain pen will be omitted immediately as critical evidence. This just says RM. They're assuming a lot. So have I omitted anything? Decisive testimony and damning evidence. There's a bright blue sky outside the courthouse today. Perfect weather to describe guilt, I feel. I don't understand. The prosecutor, Auchi, of 9 months ago, had none of this man's pose. Counsel for the defense, you may begin your cross-examination now. Naruhodo-san. Naruhodo. That means... Oh, yes, me! Is there another Naruhodo in my courtroom? Actually, there isn't even a single Naruhodo in your courtroom. Cousin, Rotaru, pull yourself together, please. Alright. I've seen this countless times as a judicial assistant. Find inconsistencies in the witness's testimony prove that they're lying somehow. Yes to it. That's how a real lawyer would handle a cross-examination. Let's see what I could do. Whoop! The witness scene. On the day of the incident, I was ordered on a special surveillance assignment in this disguise. I just managed to grab that crab when I suddenly heard a caterwaul from behind me. I ran to the beach hut at once, where I found the pair in question. Yes! The young girl was astride, the Englishwoman dagger in hand as she stabbed wildly. I saw blood on the blade. It proved to me that she stabbed the victim multiple times. Oh no. There's so many thoughts whirling around in my head. I could do to stand here, wide-eyed and mute. Goodness, my dear. Really must try to calm down. But how am I supposed to find inconsistency in what those two gentlemen are saying? Let's see why either of them would have any reason to lie. What you must remember, I think, is that witness may inadvertently lie to you. For various reasons. Misunderstanding, mistaken observation, a delusion, maybe. Delusion. What's important is that we determine the truth. There's only one sure way to do that. Yes, with evidence, of course. Spoken like a true judicial assistant. During the witness testimony, you could use that to pick a piece of evidence to present for consideration. You need to listen carefully to each statement. Compare what's said to the details in the courtyard. You find some conflicting information. That may be the inconsistency you're looking for. Yes, all about inconsistencies. Once you've identified a witness statement that appears to conflict with a piece of evidence, present the evidence to the witness with that, and the way ahead will present itself to you. I'm sure. Yes! Alright then. Consider the details of all the evidence in the court record against each statement to find an inconsistency. I hope I'm up to the task. Don't forget that you can have the witness repeat their statements as many times as you like. Everyone has to start at the beginning. Remember, those wide eyes are quite unforgivable. Besides, there's no one else to defend that poor girl. You're right. You need to listen to the testimony again from the start. I think he's telling the truth there. Just managed to crash a crab. Heard a screaming. Yes? Can you tell me more? You're describing the victim's scream, presumably? Suzuki-san? Saki-san? In more literary terms, you might say it was a scream that could have burst the heavens. Yeah! Or the like. Of course, there's just a metaphor. You know, authors won't to describing things so. Susaki-san wasn't all like this in England. Anyway, I spun around at the noise, and the beach hut immediately fell under my gaze. Yes, the beach hut. The area is popular with government ministers. Many have seaside retreats there for rest and recuperation. Locals are prohibited from entering the area, so it's always very quiet. The beach hut is a simple structure, erected as a place for people to change or take refuge from the sun. Although the Englishwoman commandeered the hut for herself, which meant that I was forced to change into my swimwear on the sun. I imagine that was rather embarrassing for you. Well, anyway, I tossed the crab aside and headed for the beach hut at a run. Or, in more literal terms, I decrabbed and beetled off huntwise. Okay, so the younger was astride the Englishwoman, dagger in hand, as she stabbed wildly.
Hold it!
Stabbed wildly? You actually saw her do it? Oh, indeed! The terrible Spectra! The Tiberian Spectre! The bloody torch! The author's torment! Oh. Every sight and every sound is still carved in my melancholy memory. That was my impression, at least. as a future literary sensation. Cancel, what on earth was that shrill, effeminate scream? Oh, no, no. Oh, what are you insinuating? I'm as manly as a Japanese man as you. I wonder if I might interject here. Sasaki-san, something you said is troubling me. That was my impression for your words just now, I believe. Ah, so, do you mean to say you're not confident that you really did see what you described? No, I mean yes. I mean, I know what they saw. My ears didn't deceive me when I heard that scream, hence my eyes didn't deceive me either. I could describe everything I saw vividly. I could publish it all in tomorrow's newspaper serial. Bro, what? It sounds as though the next installment of I Am a Cat may take a macabre turn. I think this is a fool's errand. The more we press your author friend on what he saw, the more entrenched he's going to become. Oh dear. Awkward. Okay. Good to me that she stabbed the victim multiple times. What do you mean, multiple times?
Hold it!
She was stabbed multiple times? How can you be so sure of that? Very simply. From the blood on the blade. The blood? When I entered the hut, I saw the defendant holding the blade raised up in the air. Yes, yes, that's right. I saw it too. Oh. And I noted that there was blood on the blade, already at that point. In other words, the victim had already been stabbed at least once by the time I arrived at the scene. Yes, yes, that's right. I saw it too. But the victim was already holding the defendant's fountain pen in her hand, too. All of which means I could be sure the victim did not die instantly. Yes, yes, right. Saw it too. Yeah, here in London was too much for him. He sounds like he's forgotten how to speak Japanese. The logic of your argument is sound, at least. Well, as I said, it was my guiding principle to carry out all testimonies flawlessly. Perhaps it should have been your guiding principle to protect the victim flawlessly. That's just my personal opinion, of course. Counsel, you'll refrain from mocking the witness. Damn, we got his ass, though. No, I just have so many thoughts. Yeah. Yes, yes, yes. Please let me go. 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 I don't think I need to present evidence quite yet. Please, please. I have an idea that I have to use it with my pen, but I don't quite know what statement I need to present it. Oh. Order special surveillance of the skies. Crab. When I found the pair in question. It's fine. He's not right, but like, that's something for later. I saw blood on the blade. What do you mean blood on the blade? That doesn't make sense. The pen of the victim was found grasping in her hand. It carries the initials RM. The blade in her hand. I mean, maybe her thing? Like, that's what I could assume as much. I'm trying to, like, think of all the things that we have here. Magnifying glass. Please. pretty sure we could see some things here. The swan is gone. Was stabbed there. Where? What do I? Yes, several of these. That's kind of wild. Okay, so we're gonna go back on that. And then what's this? Let me see it. So he's doing that. He's being all kinds of wild about things. Why is there a shattered thing here? That's probably gonna come up later. Just kind of has a smile. Okay, and then we have here time of death. Only a single wound was identified. There we go. A single wound. So we can present that.
Objection!
That that accusatory cry that just welled up from deep inside me. I think I finally understand. Every time Kazuma-san, Sama, and Naruhodo-san has stood here on this bench, the stakes have been very, very high indeed. What's the menacing pose, Council? I'd like the witness to clarify something for me. Oh, what? Where? When? Oh! Not you, Sasuke-san. This query is directed at Inspector Hosonaga. At me. In your statement just now, you said that the victim was stabbed multiple times. Yes, that's right. As I said, when I entered the hut, the defendant was already standing over the victim, bloody knife in hand, like a murderous demon. And yet, that cannot be. What? Get to the point, please, Counsel. In the post-mortem report, it clearly states that the victim was stabbed one time only. I like this. I like how she's so cute. She is very gallant and dashing. Very gallant and dashing. Oh! In other words, Inspector Hosanaga's testimony is clearly flawed. And Sasaki-san. Me? You claim to have seen Menbami-sama, Menbami-san, in the throes of stabbing the victim. Yes, I did! Widely! But both of you and the inspector confirmed the same point. That there was already blood on the knife that you saw the defendant holding. Yes, and it's quite simple. We know the murder weapon was used to stab the victim only once. Therefore, there is no way there could have been blood on the knife if that single stabbing hadn't already occurred. True! Then what exactly is your contention, Counsel? Are you ever going to tell us? Yes, Your Excellency. There's only one logical conclusion. What Susaki-san, in fact, saw was not the moment that the defendant stabbed the victim at all, but the moment the defendant, in fact, withdrew the blade from the victim's body. That can't... Excellent work, Susato-san. You exploded at them with that objection, then proceeded to pull them apart systematically.
Objection!
takes me back. Yes, I seem to remember your cousin staged a scene much like this in the trial 9 months ago. A half-witted child with a half-baked objection attempting to steal the show. You're right. There have been certain similarities. That so-called half-wit child managed to outwit the prosecution, who was only half a head of hair. Slander! My head is quite, adequately dressed. In any case, all this talk of stabbing us drawing and multiple wounds, it makes not a jot of difference. What? Why not? Engage your brain, young man. When the accused first plunged the deadly weapon into the victim, that was the fatal blow. And it was that moment, just as she had withdrawn the blade ready for her next strike, that the witness saw. The knife had already been tainted with blood, because the accused had already stabbed the victim. Ah! All you have successfully shown with your little display is that the mustache author is prone to moments of extravagance. Ah! I'm in agreement with the prosecution. The defendant was seen wielding the blade at all. That is sufficient grounds for her actions to be viewed with suspicion. But she was withdrawing the blade. Then we are back where we started. Sorry? Consider this, young yokel boy. If the student girl is innocent as you claim, then why would she have pulled the blade from the victim? With a demon's cold-blooded composure, too. The prosecution demands an explanation, and it better be good. Why did Ray pull out the knife? Yes. Going for the jugular. What does father mean by that? Let the court hear your answer then, counsel. The truth is, I don't really know. But I had to come up with a plausible reason here. We don't have a case. The reason why the defendant pulled the knife blade out of the victim's body was surely so she could stab her again, hide the knife. No, save her life. According to the post-mortem report, the victim's death was not instant. That's correct. It's thought she had remained conscious for a short while after sustaining the injury. Indeed, giving her the time to take hold of this piece of evidence that clearly indicates her killer. The point is, being a medical research assistant, Mbami-san was compelled to act when faced with a wounded victim. Instinctively, she pulled the blade out in an attempt to save Miss Brett's life. Do you hear that, Your Excellency? It would seem that this is the best we could expect of this young yokel. Indeed. Is it just me? Does it suddenly feel much colder in here? Your Excellency, if I may. Speak witness. I would like another opportunity to testify. In respect to the slipshod assertion just put forward by the yokel defense counsel, I mean. Slipshod? An excellent idea, Inspector. Our young yokel hopefully has a modicum of knowledge when it comes to law, it seems. But in matters of medicine, he appears to possess not one iota of common sense. Very well, Inspector. I will permit your request. I will testify again before the court, on the subject of the defense counsel's assertion. Yes, sir. I will do so flawlessly.